Hello, welcome. Hello,
Hi.
Chris.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, thank you. Thank you for coming on today. I know it's a bit early for a Friday,
Oh,
um,
yeah, that's
but
quite all
it's
right.
very kind of you. And I've been looking forward to this actually for ever since we organised it because it's about Greek myths, Greek legends, and how they fit in with tarot decks. And I've always loved Greek myths and legends. I'm sure I'm going to bore everyone senseless with it today. But I also noticed that you, on a couple of lives, had a few of the Greek tarot decks, and I thought, oh,
Yeah.
well, here's an opportunity to have a good conversation. So I really appreciate you coming on and doing this today.
No, not at all. I appreciate you having me. I love geeking out about tarot, but I also love geeking out about Greek mythology. So this
Yeah.
is a treat.
Exactly. We're going to geek out everyone. So that's amazing. I'm loving it. Let's say hello to some of our lovely, lovely people joining us. Deanne is here.
Hey, Dion.
And she's upset because she hasn't got a flannel shirt emoji. And I'm not wearing flannel today, but Christmas for you. So there we go. Hope you're happy with that. Deanne, I hope you're well, my lovely. Barbara is here. Good evening to you. And she's saying hello to everybody in chat. Chris says hello to everyone.
Hi,
Hello,
Barbara.
I think Sue is here. Hi, Sue. Good to see you here. Oh my God, my mind's gone blank.
Heather?
Heather, thank you. I'm so sorry, Heather. It's been a week of work and Friday, and I do apologise. I need to write this one down. Heather, thank you. Welcome, welcome.
My gosh, Heather.
Rossi is here. Hello, Rossi. Good to see you here.
Rossi.
Let's see if anyone else is here. Lots of people. Magdalena is here. Hello to you. Welcome here. And if you are kind of watching this at another point, of course, welcome, welcome. I've got a lovely comment here. I look like a Maharaja. I'm sitting with that for a moment. Thank you. Thank you. There you go. She said she totally called it. Chris didn't let you down.
Oh, because of the flannel shirt. Do you know the reason that I'm wearing this, actually?
No.
When I got ready this morning, I put on my trousers before my top, and I was there. I'm wearing like what even are these? Like khakis?
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, like these
Yep.
trousers.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, I need to find a top that goes with these, and I couldn't find a t-shirt that was like smart enough to go with a pair of khakis. So instead of just changing my trousers like any sensible person, I went and found a shirt. Hence the reason that I'm wearing a shirt.
And of course, it's very refreshing to know that we all know that you're wearing trousers as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Or was that just like a trick? I mean, I could be wearing anything, you never know.
Well, I'm leaving everyone in a mystery about what's happening down here, but let's keep it clean.
Oh, hi, Peter. We really cannot make jokes like that, and to keep it clean, my apologies. It shan't happen again.
It's fine. Oh, got me hot now. I'm wearing this fleecy top, and I'm like, this was a really bad idea. I might have to, when you're doing a story, I might just flick off and go and get changed. So if I disappear, don't worry. We might have a costume change in the middle of this today. Deanne says she's doing okay. She's all drugged up now, so peace out and everything like that. But Red Wing, hello to you. Good to see you here. So many lovely people in chatting there. The power of the flannel magic is right there. Debbie is here, and everyone's sending love to Deanne there. Tony is here. Hello, Tony. Good to see you here. I hope you're well. I think that's everyone, but there are more people just watching. So please feel free. Chris, are you okay? People ask questions today on what we're talking about. Are you happy to answer anything there?
Absolutely. I can't promise that I'll be able to answer them, but absolutely ask questions.
Yeah, we'll try and do our best. Rossi says, I'm missing a monocle and a top hat. I look like the Monopoly character. I'll take that as a compliment as well. Thank you very much there. Hi, Free Spirit. Good to see you here. Lots of lovely people. Thank you. Thank you. Right, Chris, I'm going to pitch straight in because I know why I like Greek myths, but I'm going to throw it over to you first. What is it, do you think, that you like about Greek myths? What draws you to them? How long have you kind of been interested in them? The floor is yours for 2 minutes. Go.
Oh gosh, too very specific, 2 minutes, right? Okay, so I mean, I guess I've always had some kind of degree of interest in Greek mythology. I think just I'm a lover of stories, and I think Greek mythology has some really interesting stories behind it, some really like fiery, fierce characters. So there's that, and that's always appealed to me. I really, really kind of in the last 4 years, I've really kind of, as I've gotten, to be honest, I've got Rachel Pollack to thank for a lot of my interest in Greek mythology, because it was her that that first made me draw the parallel between tarot and Greek mythology. Because Rachel was a big lover of Greek mythology, as you know, most people know. And I attended like kind of a seminars and stuff where she talked about, you know, like there was one where we were talking about like gods within the tarot and stuff. So yeah, that's always it's always been an interest, but it's become more of a special interest since that. And then I think also like, so since I was brought up Catholic, so like very mono, you know, one God type thing. And as I've kind of grown up and, you know, I suppose just learned to think and question things, it occurred to me that, well, how could there possibly just be one? This is just my thought, my thinking on the matter, and I know I'm going to be a bit deep. There is a reason for it. The way that I look at it is, how could there possibly just be one God who is all powerful and loves everybody at the same time? If there's one God, then he's got to be completely gives zero fucks, right?
Yeah.
Either that, or he's not all powerful, or there's more than one, and they're all kind of battling with each other. And that's where, like, to me, I would far prefer to, I don't know, to discover that actually it's the Greek pantheon that's behind it all, or the Orishas, or you know, something like that, rather than just this one big man in the sky who's up there looking at you, watching, like wagging his finger when you're watching adult things on your phone, or do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't.
Absolutely, I know what you mean.
The Greeks are they're like very down to earth and very human in their way, and they're kind of a dramatic, and they're, you know, I just find them so much more relatable. So for that reason as well, I take an interest in it, and I'm sorry I'm not longer than 2 minutes.
I totally see that, and I mean that's a bit similar to my interest. I was always really into them as a kid. As a kid, I always loved the Greek mythology and stuff like that. And I suppose, you know, there's always kind of like references to it in your day-to-day life. So it might be statues, or you could physically see statues of the gods, whereas, you know, again, as you say, there wasn't a particular statue for God. Obviously, there's lots of crucifixes and other icons around. And it kind of made perfect sense to me, you know, some of these myths that were made, or told, I should say, that explained why 6 months of the year everything dies, and 6 months of the year the world comes back. You know, makes perfect sense, and people believe that. And actually, why not believe that? You know, we now go, oh, well, it's because the Earth is on an axis and it tilts away from the sun. Well, that's, you know, that's just as mysterious to me as Persephone being taken down into the underworld. Do you know what I mean? There's that whole kind of wonder attached to it all. And I have to say, the thing that really brought it home to me when I was a kid was watching the Ray Harryhausen films, which had, you know, Clash of the Titans, the original ones, and the Jason and the Argonauts, because all of a sudden, you know, Medusa was suddenly a live character, you know, and terrifying rather than being something of a story or a nightmare there. And I was just absolutely in love with the look of the film, the animation, the campness of people like Honor Blackman and Maggie Smith giving it, you know, their best Sandals and Toga productions, and, you know, muscled men running around in long guns. I mean, you know, as a gay 10-year-old, what's not to love? Let's be brutally honest on that one there. So it kind of just really, really just was a real thing that was important in my life. And from there, I've gone on to love it a bit more. So there we go. That's that. So are there any particular books that you kind of read or reference about this? Because there's been a lot of books recently kind of published. I'm just going to reference something like that, Madeline Miller. I don't know if you've read any of these kind of books, Chris, but there's a big surge in retelling of Greek myths. I'm just wondering if you've kind of got any of those, or perhaps any other stuff like Chaos on Netflix. You've had a chance to watch that yet?
So I actually do have a fair few books on Greek mythology and on mythology in general, but they're all behind my desk.
Yeah.
So I won't go and get them, but
no, that's fine.
They're mostly like kind of a reference type books, do you know what I mean, where you can look stuff up. I do love Mythos by Stephen Fry. I've got the book and I've got the audio book on my Audible for that.
Yeah.
Heroes, yeah. So that's really, really good. And if you struggle just reading like just like kind of a encyclopedia type books on Greek mythology, Stephen writes it in a way where he animates it a wee bit. Do you know what I mean? He gives them character.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. I think I've recommended it before, but Mythos by Stephen Fry. And then I've got like I'm trying to kind of appear at my shelves between the screens to see if I can see any of them, but I can't really think of who. Let's see, there's like I can see there's a mythology encyclopedia.
Yeah.
I can't see who it's by, but yeah, I've got loads.
I can really recommend Natalie Haynes. Actually,
Right.
She is an English classicist, but she also is a stand-up comedian, and she actually has on the BBC podcasts. If you Google up Natalie, she does like a stand-up for each of the Greek myths and Greek and Roman and classic people there. Right. Very funny and very factual, and I really recommend Natalie Haynes there. This book's really good because it's a retelling of the Medusa story there.
Right.
Yeah. And another one that's I've read a million times, but it's Margaret Atwood's The Penelope Ad. It's really good as well. It's the retelling of the Trojan War from Penelope's point of view, and all the hassle and hatred that she shows for her husband. And you know, I often take it on holiday somewhere hot and read that one. It's a well done book there. So there's some recommendations for people if you're wanting to know a little bit more. Something that's a bit more accessible, as you say, a bit more fun. I'm just checking in with some people. Heather says Clash of the Titans is still one of my favourite movies from my childhood. I much prefer it to the remakes, although they are very, very good as well there. Hi, Sandra. Hello, anyone joining us, coming in. Lovely to see you here. Oh, Sarah's here as well. Hi, Sarah. Good afternoon, good evening to you. Hope I haven't missed anyone there. Lovely. Right. Okay, I'm going to ask this question first before I get you to show your marvelous resources you've been creating. Perhaps we could discuss this as we go. Perhaps this isn't the right time. I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you have a particular favourite Greek myth?
Oh, I don't have just one favourite. I do have one favourite. Gosh.
Don't worry. It might come when we start looking at some of the cards and looking at some of the decks. You might go.
I love the story of Persephone, obviously, but I feel like that's an obvious one to say just because I'm a follower of the school of Rachel Pollock. There's a wee strange telling of Medusa's story where I know she's a Gorgon, but there's a story where she starts out as this beautiful woman, and she's actually turned into the kind of a snakes for hair and turns people to stone by. Actually, I've forgotten. Was it Hera or Aphrodite?
Aphrodite, one of them. She did things in a temple, didn't she? She was kind of. I think she might have made it, but unfortunately,
I think there was like jealousy or something because somebody liked Medusa better than they liked the game, and they got salty about it and basically turned her into what she is, so as that she couldn't set eyes on another man without turning him to stone. And I just I just like something like that because it tells it in a totally different way. Do you know what I mean? It puts a different spin on it. It's kind of like like what Wicked does to the Wizard of Oz. I'm all for that kind of a different point of view.
Absolutely, I think it's fascinating, which is what this book does. The Medusa story. There's other versions around as well, but yeah, it seems that recent years people are claiming back that story and retelling it, so that, as you say, it's like the Wicked phenomena. So that the baddie it actually becomes much more empathetic, and we realise, what the background is, and we can see the reasons for it. And I think it's fascinating. And have you seen? There's a statue. I don't have a picture of it, but there's the famous picture of Perseus holding the statue of the head of Medusa. And then a few years ago, they reversed it, so it's a Medusa holding the head of Perseus. And it's really cool statue. I recommend that have a Google of it afterwards if you do. I can't remember who the artist is, but it's really, really cool.
Whereabouts is it? Where is it?
I wouldn't like to say where it is. Perhaps somebody could put a link into the chat if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's a. I don't know how old the statue is, but it's really worth a look at because it's really pretty cool. Yeah. Heather says Medusa has been essayed by Zeus and Athena, got angry and turned Medusa into the snake organ. This is the tale I've heard of.
Yeah. Oh, Athena, right, okay.
Yeah. And Sarah says, I love the statue of Medusa. She looks 1,000% done with everyone's crap. Yeah, absolutely. And Redwing says the Circe, the Madeline Miller's a really good book. It's written from Circe's point of view. Yeah, fantastic. And we've got Circe Tarot coming up in a minute. We'll be talking about as well there. Sarah said, oddly enough, Hera has been making herself known lately. So this is a good timing. Perfect. And Athena is always been my patron and favourite Greek god, followed by Hermes. Thank you for popping that in. That's wonderful. Do let us know, other people, if you've got favourite famous Greek myths or have a particular pantheon god that you follow a little bit more than others. Be absolutely fascinated to know. Hi, Ange. Good to see you here. I like that book too. Donna's here, and I like that book too. And it's usually Poseidon in most myths that takes advantage of Medusa, yeah. And Sandra, I think you will love it. It's really good. I've read it a couple of times. So there's a little bit of background reading for people if you're interested. Chris, shall we do you want to show your wonderful resource?
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to take myself out so that you're going to be on full screen so people can see this, and you could talk through this because this is really interesting. So
no worries, that's fine.
Solo layout there. Okay,
cool. So I'll zoom this in a wee bit so that it's a bit clearer. So what I've done is the 4 decks that I've got, you can see them titled up the top here, and these are the decks that I've got to talk about today. Spoiler: the Orphic Tarot, the Mythos Tarot, Kirky Tarot, and the Mythic Tarot. And I've basically gone through and noted what deities are used on each card for each deck, and it's quite good because it's a good thing to do just as an exercise to get you closer to the deck. So even if you're just doing this for one of them, but also it's good because it lets you compare like which gods or goddesses or what are used for each card in each deck, and compare across the way. So like we can see that for the Fool, for example, Pan is used in 2, the Orphic and the Mythos, and then Dionysus is used in the Mythic and the Kirky Tarot. And even in saying that, I think Pan and Dionysus are kind of a similar-ish god. They're both kind of
same energies.
Gods of the wild. They both represent that kind of a, I suppose, throwing caution to the wind type energy that we associate with the Fool. So it's interesting to see. Apollo's quite popular there for the Chariot, because obviously Apollo, as I understand it, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but he brings up the sun in the chariot or something, doesn't he? He rides the chariot and Hades as well. I mean, I think Hades is on the chariot because he also has a chariot that I think he uses to when he takes Persephone, when he abducts her and takes her to the underworld. That's where I know his chariot from, if that makes sense. See, Prometheus is very, very, very popular for the Hanged.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
But Selene for the moon, because Selene is the moon, and so anyway, so it was a really good exercise, and you can see the Mythic Tarot, the minors more focus on like heroes rather than gods. And I think the Kirky Tarot is doing something similar. I didn't really so that's why we only see the majors for them, but for the minors, for the Mythos and the Orphic, I've done the same thing for the minors as well. And then on the other tab, I've alphabetized all of the gods and goddesses, and I've kind of tried to put a wee bit about what they are, the personification of, what they are to do with, just shows that it's helpful for me. So if I see that, for example, Hestia is the Queen of Wands, then I can go to Hestia and say, right, what was she like? She's the goddess of the hearth, of home and hospitality. Goddess the hearth being like kind of the fireplace. She's so a very kind of a fiery energy, which makes sense for the Queen of Wands. So I can do that kind of thing.
It's interesting that the references that the artists have come up with for each of the archetypes really match in. I mean, and that's one of the great things about the Greek myth, is there's so many characters from there. You can see why those choices have been made. Whereas with other tarot decks, it sometimes feels like they've shoehorned in characters in, with a different theme just to fill space. But these ones really, really speak about it. Oh, sorry, I've got somebody just delivering something there. I'm just going to mute this.
No worries. I think what's interesting here as well is, like, I'm looking down the minors here, and like there's not. So this is just comparing the Mythos and the Orphic, and they're not repeating every single time. In fact, I think they barely ever do repeat. So, they're like, it's testament to what Richie says. There are so many different, deities, gods, goddesses, demons, whatever you want to call them. There's so many divine spirits in this pantheon that there's so many to choose from, So it's really interesting. It's been a good exercise for me just to kind of get me to up my knowledge a wee bit, I guess.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing that, Chris. How long did it take you to do that, out of interest? Is it just a couple of hours work, or is it a bit more there on that one?
It was more than I mean, I did it over a couple of sessions. I broke it down and set myself different. I've been trying to use Todoist, if anyone uses Todoist. So I was like, right, I'll do the Orphic, then I'll do the Mythos, then the Kirky, and then the Mythic, and then after that, I'll go down, and I did this in a couple of sessions. So it took a wee bit of time, but like it wasn't, it wasn't a massive task. And it's a really good resource for me to have. So I'm glad that I did it. So if anyone wants a copy of this spreadsheet, I'm more than happy to to email it to you or pass it over. So just send me a message on, instant messenger or Facebook or whatever, email me, and I can send you a copy of it if you're interested in it.
That's so kind, Chris. Thank you very much for sharing that work for you, because
Right.
it's a really lovely reference point for people who may want to get a bit more into this and may not know it, or just wants to build up their reference library there. Thank you.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
definitely. No, that's okay. That's all right.
Heather says, I like that Hecate. I say Hecate, obviously there's different pronunciations of that in here. Sorry, let's get you out of there so that I can come in there. It's like the Hecate in associated with the Wheel of Fortune. You can see that one there. Sarah says that the Tower of Persephone's Garden is gorgeous. I haven't seen that one. I don't know what that one looks like. So,
yeah, there's definitely lots of other ones. There's the what do you call it now? Oh, I've forgotten. But there's one that's like really out of print and really expensive to get. That's supposed to be really, really nice. It will come back to me at some point.
Yeah. And Sarah says, I want Thonic and Huntress decks so bad. I hope I've said that correctly. I love the way you can have a go at saying the Greek words. Everyone says them differently, so it's.
I'm going to guess chthonic. I think with Greek you usually pronounce letters more than what you would think.
It's the C tends to be more like a K, doesn't it, in there? So
that's why I'm pronouncing Turkey, because I'm pretty sure that they do that. It's a hard C rather than like an S sound.
Yeah. Sarah's saying thank you for putting it together, Chris. Been interested, so it's a total jam. Shall we kind of start looking at some decks? Because
sure.
Is there a particular one you want to go with first? Because we've both got quite a few that cross. I mean, that's actually the most surprising thing, I have to say, is for the fact that Greek mythology has been around for practically ever and everyone kind of knows a lot about it. There actually aren't that many decks specially based around Greek mythology. And the ones that are available are very, very different. So, when it came to pulling and having a look at some decks, there's only probably 8 or 9 I can think of available. So we're going to have some crossovers on there. So that's going to be fascinating to have a look. Where do you want to start, Chris? Over to you as the guest.
Well, do you want to start with something we've got in common, or do you want to start with...
Yeah, let's go for something in common. We can do... Do you want to do Mythics?
Mythic, yeah, let's do Mythic.
Okay. Have you got the older version or the more up-to-date one?
Oh, well, I've got both, but I've got the older one sitting ready.
Perhaps, here's a thought, do you know what I didn't do is put them in order. Of course I didn't do that. I wasn't that organised. I was going to suggest that we show them side by side, but I don't think that's going to work. But you've got your wonderful camera facing down, and I will try and find the cards in the later version of this one, and we can perhaps compare the two of them to see what they're like, if that's okay.
Sure. Let's do that. Let me just sort this out. That might be quite good. There we go.
Lovely. It is kind of sorted. It's just not in order. I've got all the majors together, but they're not. Okay, it's not as dreadful as I thought it was going to be. So we might have to. No. So this is the Mythic Tarot decks. You've got the older version, which came out.
Oh gosh.
80s, I would say.
I
remember seeing it in the 80s. Perhaps I don't have the book that goes with the original one, so I can't tell you on it. And I know that
year. I'm just trying to look at the 1986, maybe.
That still got it, yeah. And I've got that one as well. In fact, this was my university. I mean, look how knackered this one is. It's my most bashed up deck, but it's the one I took to university, and
right.
I haven't even got the box. I tied it up with a ribbon. That's how used it is. But then because it was Juliet Sharman Burke, wasn't it? And then they released a new version of it a few years ago. I'm going to say about 10 years ago, with the same artwork but done by a different artist. This one is done by Giovanni Caselli. So you will see, if you've not seen this before, we do it side by. The images are similar but very different, and I know a lot of people prefer the original one to the later one, so I'm just going to do that one. So, Chris, you've pulled the full. Is there a particular card or set of cards or stories in this deck that really speak to you?
That's a good question, actually. Let's see. I'll need to go through them and see.
That's fine. I'm going to hold up. So this is the later version.
I do love that. High Priestess.
Yeah, I've just pulled that one out. That's my favourite of the lot. So this is Persephone, isn't it? Going down into the underworld.
Yeah. Chiron as the Hierophant as well is quite nice, the teacher.
Yeah.
You've got the golden apple there.
Hi, Simon. Hello, anyone else that's joined us. Great to see you. 1986 is Deanne. Thank you.
I think the Judgment card, if I remember rightly, and this, the Fates is as the Wheel of Fortune as well. That's beautiful. Yeah. I do love I think the Judgment card will be my answer because I love the. I think that's Hermes taking Persephone out of the underworld.
Yeah. I have to say the original one, the line work on it is so much more superior. This is much more softer, the later version, the Caselli one. And although it's a bit more, I'm going to use the word realistic, it's got a bit more depth to it. It doesn't have the original appeal, I don't think. Yeah,
I feel as though the first one it feels like it has more atmosphere. There's just something about it. It just feels a bit nicer. That's just my opinion, but I do prefer the original sort of.
And what the back on this is just hideous. Look at that. That's my back.
Yeah, these
compare the originals, which are nice. You know, they're not the most amazing, but nice. And then there's this, which has just got copyrights and some that has to go into the top 10 worst backs for any deck, I think, that one, I would say.
Yeah, I didn't realise that it had... Oh, yeah, mine's just different. That's my new mythic.
Oh, you've got a bit better one. Well, that's good.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's... At least they must have listened to... They must have got... Because you're right, they aren't very nice with all that writing on it. They must have got feedback on that.
Yeah.
So at least
you change it. I'm going to talk about the aces because I really like the aces in this deck.
Right.
Because for those people that haven't seen this deck before, the majors are all based on gods and titans and whatnot for the majors, as we've shown some. But the minors follow 4 of the Greek myth stories, and I'm just trying to remember. So the Ace of Pentacles has Poseidon, who is the main god involved in is it the building of the labyrinth? I think it is with the pentacles there. It's Daedalus and the building of the labyrinth.
Right.
That's right. You have one, which is, I'm going to say, I don't know which book this one is looking at it, but it's the Golden Fleece.
Yeah.
You've got the Ace of Swords, so you've got Athena, and I think the story is Orestes and the outfall of the Trojan War, and his mother killing his father in the bath, and Aphrodite with the Ace of Cups, and that's the story of Echo and Psyche, I think. So they don't use what I would call very well-known myths. They kind of twist them all, which is quite nice in that one there. I'm going to let you have a little chat, Chris. So I've done a lot of talking over to you. Is there anything you want to say about anything about the aces or the minor arcana?
Nothing specific, but I do like how each suit tells a story, and you can follow the story from from ace to 10. I think that it's quite clever the way they do it. So like, just to take for example, like I'll just quickly flip through the pentacles since I've got it here. So you can kind of see the story unfold as it goes,
and fitting it into an RWS meaning.
Yeah, well. I mean, it's actually quite clever the way that it's done.
Very clever.
It's obviously taken a lot of thought and consideration that's gone into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, other than that, I don't really have too much to add.
The court cards, they can be a little bit confusing if you haven't got the book. They tend to follow sort of humans in the Greek myths. So you've got the Page of Wands in this case is the character called Phrixus riding the golden fleece. You've got Pegasus and somebody who's riding Bellerophon, I think it might be. So yeah, there's a lot of references to different people in it. So it's packed with a lot of mythology and cross-referencing, and it's a joy to use that one. It would also really appeal to young people, I think. If people were, you had youngsters who wanted to read the tarot, I think it's really almost like picture booky in some of the ways. I think it would, without confusing too many people about the Greek myth, I think it would be quite a good deck to start with. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, yeah, because it's if you really weren't interested in the Greek myth side of it, it's still one that could easily be used as a tarot deck, and you can almost kind of disregard that if you wanted to. And that's actually quite a rare thing, because as much as we have lots of theme decks, there's not very many where you can what am I trying to say? Like, there's lots where you need to know the story that's behind it in order to read the deck properly. Do you know what I mean? Or in order to get the most out of it. Whereas with this one, I feel like you can absolutely just pick this up and read it like a tarot deck, or vice versa. If you're just more interested in the Greek side of it, and you're not really looking to use it to read as a tarot deck, then it's still a really good resource on Greek mythology. It strikes that balance of both, and I don't think there's very many themed decks that do that.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's, as we said a bit earlier, it's so easy to fall down a rabbit hole. Oh, I'm going to do this with my theme, whether it's Viking or otherworldly or whatever theme you put onto your tarot deck. There must come a point where things start to jar a little bit when you can't quite make everything fit. But this one seems to flow and fit really, really lovely. So
yeah,
go on? Would you rank that as your top favorite Greek tarot deck, or we're going to save that to the end?
No, I don't.
All right. Sarah is saying at some point I need to upgrade my altar space for my Greek deities. We have 15 deities represent. That's a lot of deities. So I only have 2 right now, but you have your eye out. Well, I hope you get your collection fulfilled there, Sarah. Thank you for putting that one in there. Maria just putting links in, thank you. And I think there was a link earlier on, Deanne might have put into the statue we were talking about of Medusa. Sandra says, I like the older version of the Mythic Tarot, but don't have it as it's oop and quite expensive. Is it quite expensive? I don't know. I see it occasionally come up on eBay. I don't know. I suppose as it is out of print, it will get more and more valuable, but
yeah, I think if you're lucky, you'll be able. I don't think I paid too much for mine. So if you, I mean, it was a while ago that I got mine, mind you, so I don't know what it's like now. But I think if you keep an eye out, you will be able to find it for an okay price. I was really lucky with mine. So mine came with the book, the cloth that comes with it, and it also came in a, where is it? don't know if you can actually. No, you can't see it on my camera. It's like a kind of a green marble type box thing.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So I was really lucky with mine. But I remember when I was looking, like some of them are more expensive, but if you keep your eye out, you can find one at a decent price.
When I got this one probably about 1990, this version. You could buy it in a box with a book, or you could just buy the deck, and that's what I did because I was thinking couldn't afford all the rest of it, and I thought I'd try to be clever, going, "Oh, I know my Greek myths; it won't be a problem." Little did I know that it would be quite complicated, but there are some of it. But you might find, Sandra, that they haven't got the book with them, or you might have to sacrifice, as Chris said, the box because the box has got broken. So. If I see a decent one on eBay, I'll give you a shout. Hello to everyone that's joining us. Thank you so much. This is absolutely wonderful.
Hi everyone.
Said hello to anyone. Deanne says, I was so lucky to get the original $40. Got it a few years back as part of a bundle. Yeah, they quite often shove it in as a bundle. People might not know they've got something worth there. So and you're very welcome there. Shall we do Mythos?
Sure.
Because I think
time, Richie, how many decks have we got time left to do?
We have got we've probably got about half an hour, so it's entirely up to you. If we don't get through them all, Chris, we can always do a second part to this. So
that's fine. I'm just saying that because there's one that I know that I definitely want to talk about because it is my favourite. So just as
let's do Mythos, and then you can talk about your one, and then we've got it covered. I don't know about you. Is this your most recent deck?
Definitely my most recent Greek mythology deck.
Yeah. This is Rockpool.
Mm-hmm.
It's normally the thing that I would go like that to, because I'm not brilliant with beautiful photo montages of people. But there is something about this deck that I really, really like. So it's your kind of traditional Rockpool. It is Rockpool, isn't it? Yeah, Rockpool card stock. The backs of them very nice, reversible. But we do have photo. How would you describe it? Photo. It's not montagey, is it? It's kind of it's AI. It's very different. I don't know how you describe it.
I don't think it's AI, is it?
No, it's not.
It's not just digital art.
It's probably digital art. Some of it's much more perhaps photographic looking than others, but it is actually really, really nice. I don't know if you want to set up your camera and show.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm sitting here flicking through it myself, looking at it, not sharing.
I like doing that with this deck. It's got lovely gold edging to it as well.
It does, yeah. Let me zoom in just a smidge. Let you see it a bit better.
What I do like about this deck is that they've put the names of the Greek characters on it.
Yep.
So there's no having to keep flicking. Yes, you do have to flick in the book, but if you know a little bit about the Greek myths, it starts to make sense.
Yeah, definitely.
As you can see, everybody is mostly beautiful in here. I have a bit of a problem with the Empress looking a bit like that, but it's still a lovely deck here. So I'm just interested to see what people think about this one.
Yeah, Dionysus is an odd choice for the Hierophant. I do think there are some odd choices in here. But then there are some, like particularly in the minors, there's a lot where they do it really well, just in terms of the choice. So, but yeah, you're right. Everyone's very kind of a airbrushed, beautiful 6-packs, big boobs.
Part of me does like that a little bit about Greek mythology, though. Do you not agree?
Maybe.
It's all about, for me, it's all about heroes and if you look at a film like Troy, let's face it, the casting of that made sure that everybody was very attractive, very rough, and let's not go down the role of 300 or something like that. So it's something about, I think, that in our head, or at least in my head, that kind of bronze physique, like a Greek statue in many ways, because that's what we have to draw on here. Is kind of what I was expecting, so I'm not disappointed by that. It just gets a bit wearing after 78 images, a bit like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Barbara's suggesting it's photorealistic. I like that term. I'm going with that one. Thank you, Barbara, for that one. Sandra likes the magician card. That Nick's card is absolutely stunning.
Yeah,
it's on glossy paper, actually, glossy cardstock, because
yeah,
that's the only drawback to it. Yeah. Saskia is saying, I'm ashamed to say that although I live in Greece, I don't have any Greek mythology decks, although I do have a Greek deck called Deste or Katina's Cards. Does anyone know this deck? I don't know that deck. I'd be absolutely fascinated to know more about it, though. But Sandra does know about Deste from Kelly Fitzgerald. Thank you for sharing that one.
That was Deanne.
Oh, was it Deanne? I'm so sorry. I was looking at the wrong bit there. You're not wrong, but dang, if Troy is not my idea of a chick flick because of the eye candy. Hello, Marion. Hello to anyone else that's joining us there.
Hey, Marion.
Asclepius.
Asclepius for the 2 of Wands. Asclepius is the healer god.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting choice for the 2 of Wands. And is that not just blatantly Gandalf's staff from Lord of the Rings?
I think it might be.
It is. It really is. So yeah, interesting.
You do look at some of these and you go, oh, they look a bit familiar. They should have done a bit more morph in there. I can see why 4 of Wands, Hestia, half goddess, the goddess of the home, makes sense for the 4 of Wands. It's a good connection they've made, I think, with some of the RWS traditions.
Yeah. 5 of Wands. So Zealous, the god of dedication and emulation for the 5 of Wands. Like, interesting. 5 of Wands, Nike.
Yeah.
Totally
Victory.
makes sense. Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah. It's available on Amazon, and I picked this up in a shop in London, Eltham, the witchcraft shop there, and I was really excited when I saw this because I didn't know it was coming out. So coming across it was really interesting.
This is it was. So Marion was asking if it was mass market. See, I got this from Cheryl at Oneness Emporium. So Cheryl may well still have this in stock, Marion. And Cheryl, I don't know if you've ever got anything from Cheryl, but she provides a fantastic service. Our boy's in hospital just now, so I'm not sure whether she's how active she is in sending decks out and stuff, but she does provide a fantastic service, and this is she's definitely where I got this deck from. So check out Oneness Emporium, and see if you can get it from there. It's better than buying it off Amazon, I think.
Yeah, and I would just say also just try and find a video with a walkthrough, just so that you can see all the cards, because there might be some in there that you might jar. Before we get on to this, if you just keep that deck there, Chris, I'm just going to say that I use the Mythos deck partnered up with the Mythic Oracle deck, and it works really nicely because the images in that one are very kind of similar. Obviously, it's an Oracle deck, so the cards are bigger, but equally as glossy. And if you're interested, it's got the same vibe. It's got the same beautiful people in there. But if you do like to put your decks and your oracles together, I would really recommend getting those 2 decks and working with them, because they absolutely work beautifully together. And that's I was going to say, it's the Carissa Melado one, the Mythic Oracle. So I'm just going to shove that one in there because I wouldn't want people to miss out the opportunity. Look at the beautiful Apollo. He looks a bit Lord of the Ringsy there. He's a bit blondie. He's a bit elf-like there. So.
Is that deck readily available, Richie?
Yeah, I think it's available still. It's let's have a look. I need to turn my lights on. I can't see in this light. Simon & Schuster. So that's what it looks like. I got this off eBay. It's always floating around eBay, so you can always pick it up in there. It's done by the same people that Stacey DeMarco did the Vikings one and Titans and Gods ones there. So there's quite a few in this range. But the Mythic Oracle does all the Greek myths there, and I do recommend that.
Nice. Very nice.
Marie just put the link in for us. Thank you for that one there.
Oh, thanks, Martha.
Saskia says the book that goes with the Destiny is only in Greek. There is also a Turkish version. So you have to learn a bit of Greek to help you with that one.
Nice. I can actually, so the deck that I'm going to show next, it's Greek writing that's on it.
Okay.
And I know the Greek alphabet through doing maths, actually. I take it you'll be the same.
Okay.
Are you the same? Yeah, because you teach maths, don't you?
Yeah, I do maths. Yeah. I'm just going to put my lights on because I'm getting harder to see. So that's, I'm just going to mute myself while I talk to Google.
Okay. Cool. So sorry, I'm not sure whether I was meant to start showing the next deck.
Go for it.
Yeah. So this is the next one, and this is my favourite Greek deck that I've got. The Orphic Tarot. This is by someone called AKA Skyweb. This was an indie deck that I got through Kickstarter. To be honest, I don't know if it's available anymore because I know that they're struggling. I think it's either China or Japan that they're based in, and they were really struggling a couple of years back with delivering decks to like the UK and the US and stuff. But I just love the arts, the style of their art. This is like, I can't remember how many cards are in this deck. There's like the main 78 cards, but then there's a lot of alternatives as well. So I've kind of gone through and picked the 70. You know, what I'm like. I don't have extra cards in a deck. So I've gone through and kind of picked out my favourite. But I love the kind of a tattoo style of the art. Yeah. And I also love that, like I said, that it's the Greek letters that are used to title the cards. It can be it's quite a difficult deck to use because it's not always obvious where the name is, that it's not consistent. Like, so here you can see that's Physis. Like you get Nyx for the High Priestess, Gaia for the Empress. So the majors are kind of borderless like that. Sorry, my dogs are whining at something.
Okay. If you need to see to them, that's fine.
Oh no, I'm sure they'll be fine. They just like a good moan. So yeah, the majors are borderless, and then the minors have these borders. Sorry, I'm going to mute and shout at them. Give me 2 wee seconds.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. I'm just going to catch up with people. So, dog is Sandra. Let's just go back and have a look at some other comments. The Oracle of the Celestial Deities looks like a good pair. There we go.
So yeah, sorry, this is just beautiful. I would love to have this as a tattoo. Do you know what I mean? Like something.
It's all pin work. It looks like. Is it like? Yeah.
It is. It's the same creator that did the. So they've done a deck called Ariadne's Web. They've also been creating other decks as well, but I'm not sure how far they got with them, whether they got any of them released. I should actually check back in with her and see. because there's Atlas holding up the world, and I should have said like so the pentacles is drachmas. So like you've got the 6 drachmas there. But it's not always easy to see what you're dealing with. I've got this in order, so it's a bit more obvious. But like for example, with that one,
there's a lot going on. You'd have to. I think you might need to study, or I would need to study that, because it's the kind of card I go, oh, there's a lot of information here and misinvolved information. It's gorgeous though.
Definitely. But it's very, and saying all that, it is very Rider-Waite-Smith in the images. So let me see if I can find some examples of what I'm talking about. That's an ace. So like 2 of Cups, 3 of Cups, you know, party happening. The 4. You know, you've got that kind of a dissatisfaction.
Interesting art style. It reminds me of lots of different things. It's almost like drawing on other cultures, some of the costumes and the clothes and the style it's done in.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So, and it's got, I never said anything about so these are the backs. The backs are beautiful in and of themselves.
Wow. Beats our purple mythic tarot, doesn't it?
And it's got like black iridescent gilded sides, and I've shuffled this a lot so you can see that it's kind of a worn a bit.
Gorgeous.
But yeah, so that's my all-time favourite.
Wow, that really surprised me, because I thought it was going to be one of the other ones that we already talked about. So I can see why that's the guy. I'm assuming that's not going to become mass market or anything like that at all. It will be released.
Not that I'm aware of. I'm not sure. Like I say, I've not heard from the creator in quite a while. They were creating another deck. They were creating a Marseille style deck, so they were, that I was really, really looking forward to. So I was in contact with them for a bit. But I know that, like I said, they had those struggles delivering, and I'm not sure if because of that they've just not, they've stopped creating and producing. But I must contact them again just to see, just to check in and see whether anything is happening.
I'm going to quickly just show another deck that is, I don't even know if it's in print or available. I bought this years ago, and it's the Olympus Tarot. I think I see it occasionally around. It's one of the old Lo Scarabeo, let's have all the languages around the right way. All the languages, in the 4 corners there. And my camera's not set up to pick up all the details. It's the artwork of Luca Raimondo, who I think has done a lot of, or did do a lot of work with Lo Scarabeo, things like the Gay Tarot, the erotic one. And this has got quite a lot of nudity in it, so you have been warned. But we do have some really lovely colours, and every Greek myth. So there's Cyclops has been used. Bit unusual, some of the images. What's that one? The Six of Swords. It's got somebody, I don't know the myth behind it. It comes with a little white book that doesn't explain. 3 of Swords. You've got what's his name that fell in love with him? Narcissus. Yeah. But some very odd kind of cards. So you've got things like the 3 of Cups here. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get to it. It looks like it's been drawn on by people he knows. But there's really fascinating ones. I'm just having a look. It's really difficult to see because it's got so much around it. 2 of Swords. You've got Orpheus in the underworld there. You've got the death of the Minotaur for the 4 of Pentacles. And it's actually a really nice, again, just nice to flick through and try and match up some of the Greek myths with some of the cards. And again, they do a fantastic job of this one, of following the RWS. but some of it's a bit hard. That's the Emperor card, and I have there's no title. There's nothing on the little white book to say who it is. So I'm assuming this is interesting. It's the last one I'm going to show. You've got the Magician card, which is a Greek actor with a mask.
Oh, nice.
So it's just really interesting. I thought I'd share that with you. And the backs are fabulous, actually, because they are kind of drawn from that Greek vase.
Right.
So it's just the horrible numbers and lettering around the cards, which I can't bear. So
yeah. It looks as though that's worth it. That is out of production, Richie, and it looks as though it's worth a fair bit.
Tell me how much it's worth. You can do that.
Well, I mean, I've found a copy on eBay that's going for $300. There's one on Etsy, £157.49.
Wow.
So yeah, it looks like it's worth could be worth
it. Back in its box.
Yeah.
Wow, there you go. That's a reason why you should hang on to some decks and not get rid of them. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
That's all right.
Free Spirits, as I'm from Greece and I lived there, so I saw the series that Mara created, and yes, her story is fascinating. There's lots of lovely chats going on there. I'm just checking time. We've just gone over the hour. I think we've got, how many more decks have you got? We've got the Circe deck, haven't we? Have you got any other ones?
The Kirky one's the only one I've got left.
Shall we do that one, and then that's great. So,
yeah.
But now I have you to thank for this deck.
Oh.
The reason being, I got very excited when the catalogue came out, and I saw that this was being released was it 2 years ago? I think it was, or was it last year? I've lost track of the time.
Right.
And I completely forgot about it until I saw you using it, and then I had to rush out. And I think I got this from Cheryl as well.
Right.
Incredible, absolutely incredible.
That is really nice, isn't it?
The artwork in it reminds me of someone like Rackham a little bit, the old artist Rackham. Just in the way it's done on the title page. And he kind of draws, also, I'm saying, I can't remember who the artist is on this one. Fabio Vicentin and Perlucci set. So, but they kind of draw on different cultures again. There's a real sense of not just the Greekness of it all, but kind of fantasy characters. I'm going to leave you to flick through them because your camera's so much better than mine.
Yeah, mine's isn't in order is the only thing, because this is a deck that I use. But this is the artwork is stunning. I really like the quality of this deck as well. Really good for shuffling and stuff. The backs are beautiful too. Really nice feel to the cards too. It's quite an unusual card stock for Los Scarabeo anyway.
Yeah, it's really beautifully done. I think it would edge well. I'm thinking about I might edge it at some point during the winter, perhaps with the darker red at the back of
the red. Yeah,
but they do take
with a brush gold type color as well. This would, because it would go nicely with a shield.
There's some images. It comes with a little white book, which is quite thick.
Yeah, the little white book is really impressive for this. It actually explains the art. It explains what you're seeing, which you don't often get with little white books. Usually it's just a carbon copy of the standard kind of a meanings. But no, I was actually pretty impressed with the book for this.
Yeah. Lovely range of colours. It almost feels sometimes like there's more than a couple of artists being involved in this, because sometimes the art styles just seem quite eclectic, and I like that about it. Yeah. Does it tell the story of Circe? Possibly, but you're going to get a load of other mythologies with it as well. Gorgeous.
So, shall we? Do you usually pull a card at the end of your lives, Richard?
I don't, but let's do it, shall we? Do you want to pull one and we'll go through it, or should we both pull one from our own Cersei decks?
Well, I'll pull from the Kirky deck, but just because mine's is already shuffled.
Okay. And I'm going to pull one from the old Mythic Tarot. Let's have the old and the new, shall we?
Sure.
Thank you for everyone that's been watching. Oh, and thank you, people have been putting Maruta done a fantastic job of putting the things in there. Philippa says, I haven't used my Greek myth cards for years. I now feel like getting them out again. Thank you. Absolutely, that's what's wonderful about doing these conversations, is hopefully people remember that they've got these decks and dig them out and use them, because it's nice to do that, isn't it? And particularly decks like this you can pair up, so you could do joint readings with.
Definitely. Oh dear. I've got my card that actually flipped round whilst I was shuffling the deck, so I'm going to go with this one. Nice energy for the weekend. I've got the 3 of Cups. So whatever you've got planned for the weekend, just take a minute to pause and actually enjoy the people around about you. You know, don't get too caught up in the to-do lists and the stuff. You know, take a minute to connect, and you'll actually find that when it comes to when the weekend concludes, when you come to the end of the weekend, you'll look back with much more a sense of enjoyment. You know, you'll have a real that was a really good weekend I just had. You know, rather than if you just kind of get caught up in the hustle and the bustle of it. Spend that time to appreciate the people around about you.
Thank you. I've got the 5 of Pentacles. Again, this kind of suggests walking away from what's happened during the week, any of the negativity, any of the bad vibes that may have come from being around people or to do with finances, just the day-to-day shitness of things, okay? The weekend you can choose to walk away from it, as this character of Daedalus is. Yes, his cloak's a bit ripped. Yes, he's in bare feet, but he's choosing not to stay. He's choosing to actually move, and a bit like we would have with the 8 of Cups on that one there. So you might feel a bit down on your luck, but it's time to move on. It's time to go and find a new adventure, a new exciting. And this weekend could be that chance to put aside what's happened in the week and start afresh. So 2 lovely messages that tie together really.
You see, it's mid-month, isn't it? So we're all getting to that weekend where we look at our bank account and think, holy shit, how am I that far down? How's the bank account that depleted already? Yeah. So
and of course it's Thursday, Friday,
it might be a weekend for drinking wine, but it's a weekend for the cheap stuff, all right? So drink wine by all means, but make sure that it's Lidl's own brand wine that you're drinking.
Or homebrew, make your own.
Oh.
Have you ever made your own wine, Chris?
No, but I don't like the sound of that.
I know some people that make their own wine, and let's just say you have to have quite a lot of it it's quite strong and quite interesting taste. Let's put it that way. So, stick to cheap stuff. Song of my people. There we go. Previously, Sarah said, I just looked up the myth and connect with the vibe of the deity or myth displayed. Yeah, absolutely. Actual footage of me trying not to spend money. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? We often try and go, oh, it's the weekend, let's splurge out, let's reward ourselves for getting there. And we can get into a habit of that, and it can be a bit like, oh, I'm going to go and buy another tarot deck. And that's great. If you need another tarot deck and you want another, that's absolutely fine. But perhaps you might want, do I really need another tarot deck right now? Could it wait till Christmas? I don't know. There we go. There's my mythology and thoughts about it. Chris, thank you so much. Is there anything you would like to say before we depart? Have you got anything about the decks or anything about what's coming up with you?
No, I think the only thing I've got to say, I don't really have anything coming up to, anything specific to speak of. So no announcements or anything like that. So I just want to say thank you so much, Richie, for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Always good to catch up. And I've really appreciated doing this because, like I said at the start, I do love a good geek out session because I'm a big nerd. So thanks for having me, and thanks to everyone in the chat for the phone.
Everyone's been really, really kind and contributed so much to it. So do thank you, chatters. Yeah. Maruta says, my dad tried making wine, really poor results. Yeah, a lot of stomach aches out of that one. But Sarah has made mead, but that was a lot of work. I would imagine it would be, yeah. Sarah says, thank you. Kristen, hi, Kristen. I had a chance to say hello to you earlier. Didn't catch it from the beginning. Go back and watch it. It's fine. And Philippa can recommend elderflower champagne homemade. Well, the elderberries are out. So if you can make something with the berries that are out in black. I've got a bottle of blackberry vodka I've been making. I've just remembered. I might have to crack that open tonight.
I think you should. I think you've been encouraged.
I have. Chris said so. It's fine. I'm back next Friday. It's Mabon. It's Long Stash coming up. Ken is going to be with Gerald and I for the Long Stash readings next week. So do like and subscribe and do all those things for some free readings. Please make sure you've subscribed to Chris's channel as well if you haven't already. Chris does some fantastic stuff, really interesting conversations, and you're a fabulous reader. So if you haven't subscribed to Chris, please make sure you have done so. Chris, thank you so much again. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and see you really soon. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.